Hey, this isn't Seinfeld. Jeez, cable sucks.
You have been chosen, Scully. Chosen by the powers. The committee is all here waiting. Waiting for you. For you to join us here in the void. So you think TV sucks? Well, it's true. It's sucking your mind into a safe place. So submit and enjoy the sanctum of Televoid.
Ah, conspiracy wacko. They'll never get me.
Yes?
Richard, Charles Driggs here. Yeah, listen. Yeah, no, I'm just calling to let you know that I won't be back this afternoon.
You won't be back? What, is something wrong?
But no, there's no problem. It's just, I'm stuck in outside meetings. You know how that goes.
Well, I was hoping we'd be able to huddle before closing today.
Oh, yeah, sorry about that. Yeah. Well, no, I was just going to throw that to Dillman. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm writing this down. Okay, I tell you what, Richard, how about I have copies on your desk first thing Monday morning? Wouldn't that, that would be great. All right, fine, sure. Goodbye.
Hey, Charlie, you're a really good liar when you want to be.
Oh,
She was covered, her arms both were covered with rings and jewelry, accoutrements of black satanistic fleas. I'm on TV, son.
And you say she was armed?
Definitely armed. Looked like a 9mm or a 38 me.
But she was alone.
Oh, God, what time is it?
Time to get...
Hi, honey. I know it's real short notice, but I've been called away on business. Yeah, I've got a meeting tonight in Philadelphia. Yeah, well, what are you gonna do? So, I should be home tomorrow evening, for sure.
Or the amount that he could put up would easily match or exceed the profits that the whole entire gun industry gets in a year if he really wanted to do that. I don't think he has to put up that much to do the type of damage that I think he wants to do.
And coordinating this conspiracy, legal heavyweights like Wendell Gautier, who led the fight against the tobacco industry. And joining him as co-counsel on the New Orleans gun industry lawsuit, Dennis Hennigan of Handgun Control. No doubt looking for a PR boost and an infusion of cash.
He is the one who has put all the cities up to this. He's the microprocessor, the networker for this whole thing going on.
A war chest and a strategy that can't go unmatched.
Now is the time for the gun industry to get politically active as it never has before and stop these suits and shut them down. The legislatures in every state in the country have the power to end these suits.
And what I would recommend is that the gun companies, somebody take a page out of the same book that these guys are doing. Somebody needs to set up a fund on the other side to signal back, saying we're not going to cave.
The gun industry has to get out there and defend itself and show why its products make America a better, safer place than an America that didn't have these kinds of products.
Because if it doesn't, the costs of mounting a legal defense, even if that defense is ultimately successful, can be crippling, if not deadly. Like a pack of jackals, these legal vultures plan to take turns, change tactics, and doggedly grind on until one company after another gives up, exhausted and spent.
And it's important to recognize that just winning these cases once doesn't mean they're going to go away. The major long gun manufacturers need to understand that even though they are not at this moment in mortal peril, that once their cousins in the gun industry are disposed of, the anti-gun groups are going to turn around and go after them.
Greedy predators not only abusing the courts to shut down the gun industry, but abusing their power to muzzle this country's foremost scholars who express their views publicly in editorials, threatening them with their jobs for daring to use their First Amendment rights in defense of the Second Amendment.
Well, there's already a very conscious attempt to shut people up.
Well, of course I know of such people, but I can't talk about it.
تغريد ويطربنا صوت الباب النغم تغريد ويطربنا تغريد ويطربنا
واللي مزاجه السما ينضم ويانا واللي مزاجه السما ينضم ويانا ونعيش في أنس ونعيش في أنس
Well, I don't know if they're really concerned on this area. They haven't bothered me at all, you know, and I don't think, as far as I know, there's no gangs involved out here.
Maybe I should need to start going out there.
He ain't safe nowhere from nobody.
Not safe anywhere. That is a pretty frightening thought. You know, for as much as we've had to deal with gangs in this area over the past several years, you'd think we'd have learned about those gangs. Well, maybe we've learned some, but it doesn't appear as if we've learned enough. KOMO-TV, as part of its ongoing For Kids' Sake campaign, has produced the following program in cooperation with REGA, the Regional Educational Alliance on Gang Activities, with the belief that the more we know about teenage gangs, the more we know about what they do and how they operate and who is in them, that such knowledge will help get us back to feeling safe and being safer. you say the public is ignorant, well-educated?
In terms of gangs, very, very, very ignorant.
Teenage gangs, as we now understand them, were introduced into the Pacific Northwest out of places like Los Angeles and Chicago. Crips and Bloods are the gangs we hear the most about, with gang members being almost exclusively portrayed as being young black males.
We've taken loaded 4-inch .357 Magnums off 13 or 14-year-old kids wearing bulletproof vests in bowling alleys.
When you get a group of 20 people, we can just come into any classroom, I don't care where it is in the Puget Sound, and yank somebody out and thrash them. You know, there's just not enough security on the campus. There's not anything, you know, to stop us.
This picture of Mercer Island high school athletes was pulled from a school publication after it was pointed out that the hand sign being used by the students was an indication of gang association.
They tried to convince us that that meant MI. It was called by some the MI posse. It's not a gang to set up a drug cartel or something of that nature, I'm certain, but it certainly is the characteristics of a gang.
Now, let's admit, we are slow to draw the link between gangs and communities like Mercer Island. In many respects, we have been led to believe and have convinced ourselves that kids from suburban areas like this are immune from gang influence. Well, that kind of make-believe immunity leaves places like Mercer Island at considerable risk. So Bellevue, Mercer Island, Woodinville, Redmond, Bremerton, wherever you go, I mean, they may not have a problem now, but they could in a year.
Or in a week. It's going to be sooner than a year.
There is a group in the Crossroads area known as the Crossroads Posse. Our kids were throwing the name around of Mercer Island Posse. And the common meeting ground for those two groups was Factoria. And Bellevue Police will document that there were more than one confrontation.
If we continue to arbitrarily assign the gang problem to certain areas and certain people, if we continue to remain uninformed and uneducated about gangs, then we relieve ourselves of the responsibility for having to do anything about them. You think people should be worried about gangs? People in general?
Yeah. Because they're just going to keep growing, keep growing, keep growing, keep growing, keep growing.
Well, you know, I've learned that if you watch, those of you that read a lot of books, they take concepts that are familiar and have been around for years and years and years, and they just give them a new label. And you read the book and you're like, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense, but I just never heard it called this before. So I thought, well, if they can do it, I can do it. So this is my one term that it's my pride and joy. The myth of dissociative development. You don't know what it is, but share it with somebody. Say, you know, I was talking to you, go up to one of your friends and just say, you know, I noticed that I think Bill has kind of fed into that myth of dissociative development. Don't you think so? And they'll be like, they'll do what I said the first time. They'll just go, yeah, I think so too. What does it mean? To disassociate means to disconnect. To not be related to no longer have the effect from something because I am no longer associated with that. And development has to do with growing up. So that the myth of dissociative development says that there is a false belief that when somebody grows up, they disassociate, they disconnect with all of the effects and influences of the family they grew up in. Now, as you get older, you realize it's not true, but it's too late by then.
and let you see what's going on, and watch the things we do. If you could see the cars and trucks we're working on for you, you'd say incredible. Ford, that's incredible.
If you knew how much money we're spending every day for factories and people to help us find the way.
If you could see tomorrow the way it looks to us today, you'd say incredible. Ford, that's incredible. Ford, that's incredible.
Introducing the incredible Ford Factory Tour. Come and see the things we're doing to rethink, redesign, reshape the automobile. Incredible things to produce a new generation of more fuel-efficient cars and trucks.
If you could see tomorrow,
Come on, see tomorrow.
the way it looks to us today,
It's looking good.
you'd say incredible.
Incredible.
Ford, that's incredible.
It is incredible.
Ford, that's incredible.
If you could see what Ford Motor Company is doing with engines, you'd say incredible.
If we could take you through the plant
You'd see what we're developing.
to show you what is new,
An engine that gets mileage like a diesel,
and let you see what's going on,
yet runs on gasoline.
and watch the things we do.
It can save gas and run cleaner.
If you could see the cars and trucks
Now some are even turbocharged
we're working on for you,
for extra power.
you'd say incredible.
Incredible.
Ford, that's incredible.
Ford Motor Company is making dramatic improvements in gas mileage for our cars and trucks. We're developing engines that work for you on less fuel, all to save you gas.
If you could see tomorrow,
Come see tomorrow's engines
the way it looks to us today,
at Ford today.
you'd say incredible.
You'll say it today,
Ford, that's incredible.
and you'll say it again at the pump.
Ford,